Now, from Wichita's most listened to sports radio, 97.5 and 1240 KFH. This is Sports Daily with Jacob Albracht and Tommy Castor.
Hey there, everybody. Jacob Albracht, Tommy Castor here. This is Sports Daily, ready to get you and your week started right. Welcome into the program. Glad to be here. IHOP hotline is open, 869-1240. Of course, brought to you by IHOP. You can visit IHOP. Try the new If Movie-inspired menu flavors like pairing any meal with an unbelievable blue soda pop. We will have giveaways for you today. Lots of fun stuff. A lot of stuff to get to. We are entering that time of year where it's a little bit, different maybe in the format. You go through most of the year and you're talking football and college basketball, and we spend the vast majority of our time on that. We spread our wings a little bit now as the Royals continue their season that we've been waiting for a little while. We're watching a divisional race. The Royals now a game and a half back of Cleveland after matching Cleveland's 3-game win streak, a sweep of the team that we thought they should sweep. They get it done. We'll talk about that. NBA playoffs. Look, whether you're watching or not, it is interesting in a lot of ways. So we will touch on that. There was a major golf tournament over the weekend. Another Chiefs player is arrested. Players, I guess I should say. Just, par of the course here. Tommy, how are you this morning?
Hey, I'm good. Happy Monday. Glad to be here today. I know we've got obviously a lot to jump into from a busy weekend. I was locked into baseball this weekend, locked into the Royals, locked into the PGA Championship over the weekend. A lot to get to, so looking forward to talking about it.
Yeah, let's look at the PGA Championship, I think, first, because it was unusual circumstances, certainly throughout a lot of it, because, Scotty Scheffler, as we came on the air Friday morning, got arrested. That's right, Scotty Scheffler got arrested. And that was a wild story, and he answers with a pretty good round, really, on Friday. And then on Saturday, it kind of fell apart on him, and then he got back on track Sunday, but it was not enough. Xander Schauffele gets his first major win. That's a Wichita Open guy. It's crazy, Tommy, to see all of these names from those early years I was here covering, the Air Cap Classic, I think as it was called then, and now into the Wichita Open. And we're seeing all of these guys be the best dudes on tour. And that, as that tournament is coming up here real quick, is what I always take away from these. But again, here we go. And I don't know. I thought, when you got to hit a birdie putt on your final hole to win the tournament, that's a good tournament, right? This was a really nice tournament with all kinds of good factors. The added drama with Scheffler, all of it made for really an entertaining major.
Yeah, it really did. And, if you are a professional golfer, you dream of these things. You dream of the 72nd hole in a major championship, making a birdie putt to win the tournament. Yep. Like, it's the same thing as if you were a professional baseball player coming up to the plate, bases loaded, 2 outs, bottom of the ninth, to win the game. Same thing if you're a quarterback, the 2-minute drill to go down and win a game for your team. It's the same thing. But the thing about professional golf, or golf in general, is that it is 100% individual. It is 100% only on your shoulders and what you do to make it happen. Xander Schauffele, I think, had been, kind of given that title as the best current golfer to never win a major. Yep. And he got that major victory yesterday, and well-deserved for him. He was able to get out in front early in the tournament, kind of be able to keep that, that lead. I know he shared it with Colin Morikawa after the third round on Saturday, but he was able to go out there and really be able to, just make the birdies when he needed to. Bryson DeChambeau had a great final round, but Schauffele was able to make that putt on the 72nd hole. And here we go. Schauffele's a major champion. Pretty fun to watch.
I think the tour's in a really good place. Of course, this is the first time that I bet Scheffler. We had our experiment. And so, after he was arrested, I was like, oh, I'm going to bet him now. And then it doesn't come through.
But hey, can we talk about the fact that, he finished top 10.
I know.
After being arrested
his bad
on
Saturday.
Friday,
yeah.
The guy goes, spends like 3 hours behind bars.
That doesn't pay though. Like they don't give me my money for that. It's fine. I think that this, honestly, I hate the circumstances of which it happened. There was a tragedy involved. Outside of the tragedy, though, the fact that all this happened will, I think, enhance Scheffler's hold on golf right now. And I think long-term and big picture, this will catapult him maybe to another level of stardom, because now everybody saw that story. There are a lot of people that saw that story and were interested in that story that don't have a clue who Scotty Scheffler was before that story came down. And so, that's sort of what it takes. That's what Tiger Woods became. Tiger Woods became relevant, not just to golf fans, but to literally everybody. It's what Caitlin Clark has done. I think Caitlin Clark, Steph Curry, it doesn't happen very often. And it doesn't always have to be like the best of all time or anything either. It just has to be like who captivates the entire country. Johnny Manziel did that in college football. I'm just trying to think of different sports, where we've seen this happen. Barry Bonds in his home run chase did that, certainly. I think Scheffler has a chance to do this. Again, it's not going to be to the level of Tiger Woods. That will be unattainable. But I do think, he's in documentaries now. And I observed this last night after the fact. I had two moms who would not, I don't think, otherwise be watching any golf, talking about what happened just as a news item, right? Oh, did you see that? And then it got brought up about, him saying he'd leave the Masters for his kid, and just sort of generating that buzz around him as a personality. Because then when he at least goes into the majors, he's going to have all these people rooting for him now. Maybe that before Friday had no idea even who he was. And I think that's so good for golf, because what's going to make me watch is a very casual golf fan. And I watch and I'm in and out and I'm dabbling in these major tournaments anyway. That's my golf viewing. But if I have this in my head that it's like Scheffler versus the world or whatever, that's going to make me watch more. It just is. And I think we may be getting there. And I think this could enhance that, honestly.
Well, that's what the wild thing is about Scotty Scheffler, is that he's not attention seeking at all, but he gets all the attention on him. If you watch him, like I watched the Full Swing documentary on Netflix, season 1, there's basically an entire episode about Scotty and his wife. It was before they had their baby, obviously. But just very unassuming, very just, kind of everyday average family. And if you looked at them and you saw Scotty on the street, there's nothing really imposing about him. There's nothing really that strikes anything in you that would say, oh, this guy is a force to be reckoned with in the world of professional golf. But I think that's what makes him so appealing, because he's not out to find that spotlight. It's not that he's going to try to get the attention. And I think that, honestly, for sure, you don't want to have that kind of attention that happened on Friday. But even if it was positive attention, I think that Scotty would say, you know what, I don't really care. That's okay. Not really why I'm out here, but I think that makes him that much more interesting. And honestly, I mentioned this on Friday, it didn't matter. And as happy as I am for Xander Schauffele, and I really am, because he had been battling to try to get a major for a while now, as happy as I am for Xander, I said it on Friday, the attention would still be on Scotty Scheffler. And here we are Monday morning talking about Scotty.
That's all we've talked about. And again, that's good for golf. That's what golf needs right now. That's what every sport needs, by the way. It's what, Caitlin Clark is doing the same thing. You're making people pay attention that would not normally pay attention. Scotty Scheffler is not going to make golf nuts watch or not watch tournaments. I'll consider you one of those. You're going to watch.
I'm going to watch it regardless.
No matter who is involved, you'll watch. I won't. But I'll probably watch the majors. I'll tune in and out. If it's close and it's going to come down to 18, I'm probably watching that. It's the people that would never watch, right? But we're watching when Tiger Woods was playing. And Tiger still has this effect, by the way. His last major win, that emotional, my wife and I were locked in on that. My wife has not watched 1 second of golf since then, but she wanted to see that, because you don't want to miss out on the cultural phenomenon that is whatever it is. It's that way. Look at the NBA finals right now. Okay, the NBA is about to go through a stretch, and I've come around to this, by the way. Sometimes parity isn't always the best thing. The NBA is going to have its 6th champion in 6 years this year. I will be curious to see how that resonates with people. We went through, you want to talk about yin and yang. We had, like every year it was the Warriors and the Cavs. And then it goes to this, where every year we're going to have a different champion. And I'm curious to know what that does for people, because I would imagine that more casual fans were involved in, Warriors Cavs than will be involved in Timberwolves Celtics. Just a guess.
I don't know.
We'll see.
I do think it broadens things out. it does bring.
It's better for the fan
into
bases
it.
of those teams,
Sure.
but I don't know if it's better for that. It's not like water cooler talk. I don't think anybody's going to sit around at the office when that time comes to ask about game 2 of T-Wolves Celtics. I don't think. I could be wrong about that, and we'll see. The numbers won't lie. Whereas if it was Steph versus LeBron round 4 or whatever, like people kind of are talking about that. And I'm not saying it's a good thing if you're an actual fan. Like if you're a true, like you don't want to see that. I didn't want to see it. I used to rail it. It drove me nuts. That's why I didn't at the time. Honestly, I think it's what turned me away from the NBA. And it was at the same time that college basketball was becoming a bigger time, a part of my life. And so all of those things, it's like, well, I'm wasting my time. Like, I'm not going to watch regular season basketball. I know the Warriors are just going to be right there. Like, I know how this ends, right? Now, there's never been more parity, but it's hard to get me back because, it's hard to get me back to lock in because I need that. Like, I need the reason that I cannot miss tonight. You know what I mean? Like, I can't, like last night, when there's a comeback, and we'll get into it, when the T-Wolves are doing what they're doing in that one individual game, it's like, all right, I better get on this. Like, this is a big deal. And so you jump in. But as far as appointment television, Scotty Scheffler this weekend became appointment television. It's too bad that his Saturday fell apart. Because if his Saturday didn't fall apart, everybody would have been locked into Sunday. Everybody would have been locked into Sunday because of what happened.
Yeah, and you go through the way that his Friday played out. We were on the air, when he teed off initially and had left the jail and all of that, which just still seems so surreal to talk about. I was watching him even after we went off the air. I had him on, and I thought to myself, he's gonna go low today. Like it's gonna be incredible. The fact that he didn't really even get a chance to warm up. He was in a jail cell. Sounded like he ate like a couple bites of eggs and bacon, before he went and took the tee box. And, I thought to myself, man, he might break the course record today. Now, he didn't end up doing that, but he had an incredible round, I'm sure, basically fueled on adrenaline. And then when everything it sounded like caught up to him on Saturday, he even admitted after the tournament was over how tired he was, more tired than typically he would be, after regular tournaments. Everything kind of caught up to him on Saturday. It would have been really easy to kind of pack things up and say, I'm out of contention at this point. I had a bad Saturday. I'm not going to win the PGA Championship. He found his way into the top 10, and
Yep.
it's
Robot mode.
It's remarkable. And that's where, I made a joke about it on my social media, saying the guy literally spent like 2 or 3 hours behind bars, still finishes with a top 10 in a major. If I sneeze too hard, I'm basically out for like 3 weeks. I can't golf, for a while. Like, we're not the same. It's remarkable when you kind of have that, like, we talk about it with Patrick Mahomes all the time. Tom Brady had this. Tiger Woods has this, where just like when they are in their prime, they're locked in and the mental takes over and it leads everything else. And you said robot mode. That's exactly what it is.
It's fun to see. It will be more fun as the drama because he just doesn't have any, right? He doesn't have any drama. This gave him a little juice, right? Gave it a little life. Now people at least know who he is. And on these majors, you kind of tune in and, as he does things like say he'll leave the Masters for the birth of his kid, he'll get more casual fans that don't care. And then they see he's on a leaderboard and they're like, okay, let's watch Scotty Scheffler. And he has a documentary about it. Like all of this stuff, it's going to enhance it. And it's good for golf. It is what golf has missed dearly since Tiger left. And if golf ever wants to get anywhere remotely close to what it was then, You got to have that.
You also had a really jam-packed and heavy with stars leaderboard.
The golf
on
itself
Sunday,
was incredible,
right?
It was
So
great.
Of course,
Yes.
Schauffele wins. Then you've got Bryson DeChambeau, and there's all of the the last couple of years of PGA versus Live and all of that. And Bryson's kind of been one of the guys on the forefront of Live golf. He was right there. Colin Morikawa, Victor Hovland was in the mix. There were really high-profile, I would dare say, the stars of golf coming out on a Sunday down the stretch in a major championship. It was everything that you could ask for.
It's perfect, and it will have to last. But the jam-packed leaderboard is great once you get there. Like once you get there, right? Once we get to Sunday, and it's going to be great no matter what. What I'm saying is, like, to bring it back to a cultural event, you have to have that dude in golf, right? You have to have him. It doesn't matter how many great players there are. Golf is, I think, in a better place top to bottom than when Tiger Woods was dominating it. I think there are more great golfers now, but there's not Tiger Woods. There hasn't been.
The field is deeper.
The field is way deeper.
And you're always wanting
but
to
it's
crown,
been missing its alpha.
You're always wanting to crown who that next alpha is going to be. It's the same thing in football. Who's the next Tom Brady? Who's the next Patrick Mahomes? It's been Spieth and Rory and, Justin Thomas was there, Dustin Johnson, Brooks Koepka, like all these names. They're all still there, but nobody has grabbed the title of that number one alpha. Maybe like for maybe a stretch of golf.
Bits of time.
For bits of time. But not long lasting. And I don't know if that's going to be Scotty Scheffler or not. I don't know if it's going to be a forever type thing. Like, and I think that's,
how old is he?
27, 28, something like that. I mean, he's got a ways to go. I don't think we'll ever see the run like we saw from Tiger, ever again. I just don't think, because of the parity in the world of professional golf.
Right.
I don't think that's going to happen. But when you've got all these players jockeying for the position, it does make it that much more exciting. And then, oh, by the way, there are a ton of players out there that would also like to stake their claim on that didn't even make the cut in the PGA Championship. John Rahm is one of them, so there are so many different golfers that are there that would love to have that title.
You cannot, he always has to be in the mix. He's always got to be the number one for this to work. Always. Just can't ever waver from that. Right. And so you have to have that. And it just, like, for me, it looks like, and I don't remember all this stuff, like Spieth was the one that everybody really thought might be it. And of course that hasn't happened. Rory had the personality. He was lovable, but he wasn't winning nearly enough. And so you have like little bits, he had the beef between DeChambeau, but that's pretty in the weeds. And like, you got to, Scheffler's easy. He just keeps winning and doing things that gets casual people to know who he is. Because I would be willing to bet right now that and I always use my wife as an example because she didn't watch anything sports-wise anymore. Maybe some football. That's it. If I asked her who DeChambeau or Brooks Koepka or Dustin Johnson or John Rahm or Rory McIlroy, if I asked her who any of these people were, she'd be like, I don't know what the hell you're talking about. Like, you're speaking a foreign language. But if I ask her who Scotty Scheffler is, she's probably going to know now. And that's what you have to have. He's got to become appointment viewing for his golf has to be there, right? But then the other things, and this just adds a little bit to it. This documentary adds a little bit to it. And all of these little things. Why did the Kelseys become so popular? Right? It's not because they're two Hall of Fame football players, one a tight end and one a center. They've always been that. What's made them so popular the last couple of years? Jason Kelce got a documentary. Travis Kelce's dating a pop star. Okay, now everybody's locked in on the Kelseys. They have the number one podcast, like all this stuff. You got to have just a little of the other. It can't just be about the golf. There have been lots of great golfers since Tiger Woods. There's never been a cultural impact maker like Tiger Woods. And Scotty Scheffler's not going to be that. Nobody will be ever again, I don't think. But he can be he can be by far the closest thing to it at 27 years old. If he keeps going into robot mode like this, and he's at the top of every leaderboard, and little things outside of golf keep him in the headlines, he'll get there. I can't believe that we just spent an entire first segment talking about golf, Tommy.
Yeah.
That's
not only
what
talking
he's
about golf,
got.
talking about the guy who didn't win the tournament. Congratulations, Xander Schauffele. That's great. I'm really happy for you. Everybody is talking about Scotty.
For a decade, we did this with Tiger Woods or longer. I didn't care who else won if it wasn't Tiger. It was what about Tiger? What did Tiger do wrong? How did Tiger not win this? That's what we got to have if golf's going to ever get remotely close. And I think Scheffler's the closest we've had.
If it takes, Scotty Scheffler going to jail to keep him from winning a tournament, then that should tell you all you need to know about the way that he plays golf.
That's right. Here we go. We might have it. All right, we'll continue our tour around the sports world. Mention the insanity of the NBA playoffs. I mean, it surprises me, but it shouldn't. This just happens every year. We haven't had a repeat champion, Tommy, make it out of the second round in 6 years. Isn't that wild? 869-1240, the IHOP hotline's open for you. We'll give away some HTO later in the show. Lots of fun stuff coming. Royals get the sweep we said they needed to get, and more. It's Sports Daily. Oh, yeah, and another Chiefs player arrested. What an off season. We'll be right back with more.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea. With more than 25 flavors, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day for half-price cups of tea. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say drink tea, be happy. We have more than 25 flavors. Come try them all for free.
All right, welcome back, everybody. It's Sports Daily here on this Monday. Tommy Castor, Jacob Albracht, Jed Chambers producing the program. Of course, the IHOP hotline is open the rest of the way for you at 869-1240. NBA playoffs, of course, continued yesterday. A couple game sevens in the books. And, we talked about it before the break, Jacob. The fact that there are no repeat champions in the NBA over the last 6 seasons tells you a lot about the teams that are currently moving on and kind of where things are headed in the future.
Is it a good thing? That's where I guess I'm stuck.
I think it is. I mean, I'm always a fan of spreading that wealth,
too.
around in the NBA. I get
but it's not
burnt out.
It's not drawing me in. You know what I mean? Like I guess the alternative doesn't really draw you in until the finals, so it's better. But like, I have been a Mavs fan forever, and I'm watching, and I'm but it's kind of like and maybe it's just never going to happen again because there's so many things going on. So maybe it is just at the moment, kind of in the background but we had interesting things happening. That Knicks Pacers series was weird because every game seemed to be a blowout. What happened last night was fantastic with the T-Wolves and Nuggets. No offense to Nuggets fans or the Nuggets, but that kind of a comeback. Anthony Edwards is kind of taking his reign. Now I'm curious. Like, are we Celtics Pacers? I mean, I guess if the Pacers make it interesting, I'll probably jump in. I do think T-Wolves Mavs is really interesting because you have 2 star players now who haven't had one before, in Anthony Edwards and Luka. Like, they get to go head to head. That's pretty interesting. I guess this is a good thing. It's what I've wanted forever, and we're getting it. And I'm like, whatever. But I think it probably is a good thing. I agree. It wouldn't be a bad thing to get some at least repeat, like Denver to the finals this year, maybe. I don't know. It's a little trickier with all new every year. Like,
I don't know. I do think it's really fun though to see these players that have not been there before, and in a lot of cases are a lot younger, try to lead their teams to championships. I mean, because I mentioned, like, I get fatigued, I get worn out when it's the same players year in and year out. I absolutely was not locked in at all when Golden State had their dynasty. I wasn't. And I knew that they were great, but I knew that they were going to crush everybody every single time that they played. So why would I want to watch that? Why would I want to sit down and enjoy that? So I really was not locked in at all when that was going on, but it's fun to watch guys like Luka who haven't been there before. Anthony Edwards, who hasn't been there before, lead his team and has kind of been anointed as one of the top stars, not only in the, in the future, but currently in the NBA. It was fun to watch Jalen Brunson try to take the Knicks, to a place that they hadn't been in a long time. Of course, he dealt with a bunch of injuries and broke his hand in that game 7, which is, not a great way to end that series for the Knicks. But it's fun to watch that because these are guys that haven't been there before. And I want to see how they do it. I want to see how they thrive under that pressure.
I do too. I think, honestly, for me, and I always, like, we did this with, I think we're just so distracted now. There's just so many things pulling us away from these things. I think it's probably more that, because you take this trend even like 7-8 years ago, I think we'd be losing our minds with excitement about this. So let's let that happen again. Here, like, the fact that Minnesota is there and Indiana is there should be enough, I think, for the casual fans. The Minnesota sports fan base is as starved as any collectively. The Pacers, when was the last time the Pacers were even close? Realistically close, right? Maybe some of those Ron Artest years, they were very much in the mix, and then you got to go way back after that. So I like it. I'm in. Let's do it. Let's see these series. Let's get a new champion crowned. I think it will be far less exciting for the rest of us if it's the Celtics, because they really don't feel new. It feels like they've been there, right? And so maybe they wear the crown of the bad guy easily here. And I think they will. I think they embrace that a little bit. But that's happening, and you'll get, when do these game ones happen? Let me just take a look here. May 21st, you get the start of the East. That's tomorrow. So the Eastern Conference starts tomorrow, and then you'll alternate days for the most part, with the West starting on Wednesday. We'll try to get in on this. We'll try to get in on this new champion buzz, and and all of these things. Boy, it felt like Denver was a shoe-in there for a little bit. They weren't even the 1 seed, and it felt like they were going to be the team, and it just didn't happen for them. I don't look at this today as like what did Denver do wrong? And I know they blew a huge lead last night. To me, it's more about the rise of Anthony Edwards. And I know his offensive game wasn't incredible, but defensively in the second half last night, really collectively, not just him, collectively, that's why Minnesota's are where they are, which is it. When was the last time we saw a defensive juggernaut lead the way, Tom? Like San Antonio?
Yeah.
Back in the day?
That was going to be my first team that I thought of.
That when games wouldn't get to 100 forever in the Tim Duncan dynasty, like I think that's it. I don't think we're forgetting about anybody else. So that's interesting to have that back with them. I'm in. I'll watch it with everybody.
I think about go back to, you got to go back probably 20 years, maybe when it like the Pistons. Remember when the Pistons team?
Oh God,
in the early 2000s, like they were,
yes,
they were great defensively. That's really them, and I guess the Spurs. In the last maybe 20 years, that's probably the 2 teams I think about.
Yeah. It's fun. We're going to get us a new champion here in the NBA, and we're going to maybe see some new stars, add to their resumes more or less. Let's take a break. Let's set you up with a giveaway. Some HJ. We'll come back. We'll talk a little Royals baseball. Some other news items. Chiefs have another player arrested. Wanya Morris, and a player none of us have ever heard of, get arrested. We'll tell you why. Do we care? I don't know. Normally I would say no. Right now, maybe a little bit more. But we'll get into that. Let's give away some HTO here. 869-1240. You can get your hands on a free iced tea, which is good at either the Wichita East or West location, or down in Derby. You can get some free rain coffee, iced, hot, whatever you like. All those fancy coffee drinks people drink out there. We got them all at the Derby location or in East Wichita. One of each. Good luck. First caller right now. 869-1240. We'll come back. A little baseball, little Chiefs here on Sports Daily.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea. With more than 25 flavors, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite, or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day for half-price cups of tea. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say, drink tea, be happy. have more than 25 flavors. Come try them all for free.
Eight 1240.
Time to get busy.
This is Sports Daily on KFH.
Welcome back, everybody, to Sports Daily. Jacob Albracht, Tommy Castor alongside you. Jamie wins some free reign coffee and iced tea from HTO. Congratulations to Jamie for that win. This portion of the program brought to you by Crestview Country Club. The pool opens up here pretty quick. Got some pool party. Tommy, you can be at the pool party? We haven't talked about this.
I'm going to try. I don't know if, in fact, my wife and I don't think we've even talked about it yet. So we should probably figure that out.
Yeah, we'll be there. We don't miss many of the pool parties if we can at all avoid it. We spend so much time at that pool at Crestview. That is by far the thing we use the most out of our membership at Crestview. And you can use that. You don't have to even get the golf. Call them. They'll tell you about the memberships and give you access to just that kind of stuff. That and the kids' activities. So give them a call. Tell them we sent you. Golf is, we got the Wichita Open coming up out at Crestview soon, like real soon. Everything is like coming at us in a hurry. Kids are out of school this week. How'd you do with that storm last night? We've had all this really warm, borderline hot weather. We're not acclimated yet. We're sweating our butts off out at soccer this weekend. And then we get the storm last night. That was wild, man. I'm trying to help people. There's an HT Open Hutch, and he's trying to help. And I'm like, yeah, it's coming. And then just like, boom, that thing hit like a ton of bricks up there. So I hope, our friends up there and people that know people up there, everybody's doing okay. Down here, I'm getting pictures right now. We had kind of a shed torn apart at the west location. There's a really cool, my wife just sent this to me. There's a part of the roof of the shed is like, I don't know how, all the way to the other end of the development of businesses.
Wow.
Like that thing flew. I don't know what the distance would be. At least probably 2-3 football fields. The top of that shed flew over there. So I'm like, oh, good. Here comes Mr. Handyman. Like, I got to go figure out how to try to fix a shed. I ain't fixing a shed. My brother and I built that shed in the heat of the summer. It was not a good experience. You're building an outdoor shed and you can't drink beer while you're doing it. What's the point? Like, that thing was lopsided, whatever. So I got to get and then eventually we got it fixed and looking good. And now the roof blows off. And I'm like, okay, great. Like, good. What am I going to do? Like, I'm going to go out and fix a shed? Like, what are we doing here? And I got to find a guy. Like, I got to find a guy. If anybody knows how to fix a shed and won't, rake me over the coals, give Jad a call. Give me your information. I'll have you come fix a shed.
The only thing I was really concerned about with the storm, and it really ended up fine where we were at. I mean, we had some wind,
Yeah,
but nothing
it had
too bad.
lessened force east. Yeah.
So we're selling our house. We're in the process of doing that. We're gonna move out. We're gonna move to a townhouse for a while. Long story short, and our home inspection is actually going on right now. So like, I'm not at home. I'm in the studio because the home inspection is going on. So I was nervous that we were going to have this major storm roll through with wind damage and things like that. And then the very next morning we have a home inspection. So luckily everything was fine, no issues, no damage, nothing like that. So I do feel, grateful that that didn't happen. But yeah, seeing some pictures from up in Hutch and Newton and kind of in that area. Yeah, it seemed like it got pretty rough up there for a while.
It got real rough, and they lost power. Power lines went down. It was bad. I mean, it was, we avoided in our general metro area a tornado, which is always good. Sometimes when you get wind like that, it does, I won't want to say just as much damage, but a lot of damage. So, feeling for those folks up there. It's a nuisance. I get it. It's a pain in the butt. Throws life upside down for a little while. So hopefully everybody's hanging in there, and hopefully everybody down here. We took damage throughout the city. I just said it. We lost the roof of a shed. I mean, it's out there. Weather I'll tell you, Tommy, weather on a Sunday of a major championship is not convenient for anybody.
Yeah.
Let me just say
Hey,
that.
and can I
is
say, I want to give a shout out. And, I know that obviously you're at 12 News and all of that. A shout out to, I'm guessing it's the weather team. I mean, you tell me, who is in charge of all of that. The control room, I don't exactly know, but doing the split screen, so like,
graphic.
I could watch the major championship, which, I mean, obviously I could have pulled it up like streaming or whatever, but
Right.
like that was a really cool way to do it. So people were, not missing
yeah.
that tournament.
Ton of credit to them, for real. Cause we try to like, here's the reality for everybody. If there is a tornado, it doesn't matter, right? So you can email angrily all you want, but if there's going to be a severe weather potential event, you might as well have a backup plan to be able to pull that stream up or something. Because if there is a tornado out there, we're not going to leave the air. People might die. And I know you really want to watch your PGA Championship, and I know that the tornado might be up in Hayes, but guess what? Who cares? Like, you got to step back in those moments and be like, you know what? It probably is more important that they keep those folks up there aware of a tornado in their town than me watch Xander Schauffele try to get his first major. I'm sorry. I know that pisses people off, but get over it. It's not going to change.
It shouldn't make people as angry now that there should be other ways for people to consume
I get
that.
annoyed by it too.
I can pull up a stream and be able to watch the final round of the PGA Championship and not have to worry about that. Like, if I really don't care about the weather at all, or it's not impacting me, or it's 3 hours away, technology today makes it to where you should be able to find an alternate way to be able to watch that. So, but I do think that, on that the main channel, the fact that it was split screen for a while, I'm the kind of guy, like, I love watching weather coverage. Like, I'm a weather coverage junkie. So if I can have golf, in one part of the screen and weather in the other, like, I'm a happy camper. I'll be locked into that forever.
I agree with you. A ton of credit to them for pivoting, because, the first one came out of, it's like a tornado. When a tornado warning goes up, that's what triggers. Like when they're wall to wall, it's because there's a tornado warning. And what a tornado warning is, like, if you're watching, it's the red box. And what the red box means is there's a tornado. It's not like there might be, it's like there is one. And there's a few different ways those can get triggered. Either A train spotter has seen one and they call it in to the National Weather Service, or B, radar in a situation like yesterday, because it was so rainy and there was so much with it, like, you can't always see them. Radar can tell a meteorologist this thing is spinning. Like, there is a real good chance, or there is a tornado. So when those happen, it's like immediately jump on. There's nothing like anybody can do. There's a tornado confirmed. When a warning is happening, there's been a confirmed tornado. So they were able to let that go through, expire, and then quickly pivot. That's not easy to do either.
Right.
I wanted to give them. I'm glad you said that because that is difficult.
I'll give
get
credit
that going like that.
I'll give credit to all of the stations in Wichita because of course, providing a huge coverage area. And you look
ABC
at like
has the NBA finals happening, or the NBA playoffs
going
happening.
on. The Indianapolis 500 is happening over
Come on, Mother Nature.
NBC. Like it was a big Sunday sports afternoon. You've got basketball, golf, and the Indy 500. So they all were dealing with that in some capacity in the afternoon. So credit to them. That's not an easy situation to navigate.
It's never convenient for anybody, right? It's not convenient that I got to go try to fix a shed. It's not convenient that you didn't get to watch golf. It sucks, but we need the rain, I guess. Take it that way. We need the rain, and that rained a ton, man. It rained a lot in that storm last night. So all good. Just have plans, whether it's to get into the basement if there's a tornado or how I might want to watch whatever it is that I plan on watching when there is a decent chance of severe weather on that day that I'm watching it. Because I can promise and it's always right. It's always the minority with a megaphone and I knew it was coming. I was like, oh God. I told my wife, I was like, let me just check the old work inbox right now. Cause I bet people are big mad that we've got a tornado on the ground. And it was, and there's a lot of people that are really also kind in there, just wondering, like, get it, totally understand. Any way we could split that out, and they did, and I give them a ton of credit for that. You know what show, Tommy? Like, it's inevitable. Things happen during this particular show, and there is no show that makes people angrier when it gets covered. What would you guess that show is? CBS.
It's got to be 60 Minutes.
Nope.
Really?
Nope. Survivor.
Okay.
If I ever need a reminder that show's still really, really popular, and it's inevitable. Whatever night that is that airs, like it's just like it is rhythmic almost that we're going to get weather events during it, and people get so dang mad about Survivor.
And
which is probably the easiest show to go find anywhere.
And kind of in that same vein, like I forgot about this show. I forgot that it was still a thing and relevant. Apparently the finale of American Idol was last night, which I didn't know that was still on TV.
Oh, I don't know.
Because that was a big issue over on ABC, and they're, taken away for tornado coverage and all of that. And it was the finale of American Idol, which I'm like, American Idol is still a thing? I didn't realize that it was.
I guess I knew it was because sometimes I'll see the clips get fed to me. Like it's like Lionel Richie, and I don't even know
Luke
who's on there
Bryan
anymore.
and Katy Perry apparently are the judges.
Luke Bryan. Yeah, that's my Luke Bryan impression. I don't watch any of them anymore. There's a time we watched The Voice, really liked it. They've got like a bunch of new people on there. And we've entered the stage too, where like, I don't even know who these people are. Like they're these like pop superstars. And I'm like, we went to a Cake concert last week. We've entered this stage of life.
We're not up on the current trends.
No. But hope everybody was able to stay safe. Give your meteorologist a break. How about a thank you? They really are out there just keeping people safe. They did for a lot of people last night, just like in their own personal thing. Like we had that on, and I'm like, oh crap, this thing is gnarly. So we're just trying to help everybody out. 869-1240. We're going to talk a little Royals baseball when we come back on the other side. Chiefs in the news as well for all the wrong reasons once again this offseason. It's all coming in hour number 2. Here we go. Sports Daily coming right back.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea. With more than 25 flavors, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day for half-price cups of tea. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say drink tea, be happy. We have more than 25 flavors. Come try them all for free. We have more than 25 flavors. Come try them all for free.
Now, from Wichita's most listened to sports radio, 97.5 and 1240 KFH. This is Sports Daily with Jacob Albracht and Tommy Castor.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Sports Daily. Glad to be here with you on this Monday edition. It is Jacob Albracht and Tommy Castor alongside you. Thanks for tuning in on KFH. Perhaps you're listening to us at kfhradio.com for free on the Odyssey app. Perhaps you're watching us on our video stream, which is always available for you. You can follow the YouTube page. You can also find us on Facebook and Twitter. Or on X, I should say, sorry. KFH Radio is the place to look for. And you can leave us your comments there on everything it is that we're talking about. You can call us on the IHOP hotline, 869-1240, which is brought to you by IHOP. And you can go to IHOP and try their new If movie-inspired menu flavors, like adding an unbelievable blue soda pop to your meal. You can also leave us the comments, as Ken does, one of our great Royals fans, who said there is a team reunion this weekend, and he just kind of a shout out to Salvi, whose on base percentage right now is .402. Salvi's going to be a bona fide MVP candidate this year if he stays healthy, as is Bobby Witt Jr., and both of those guys helping the Royals to a sweep of the A's, which is what we challenged them to do, and it's what they did, Tommy. They get 3 wins. Reagan's Lugo, Singer, go. They take all 3. Cleveland does the same, so no change in the division. Doesn't quite matter yet. Just win as many games as you can. I don't think we're quite to that point. But now you get a moderately large series at home against Detroit, a team that's certainly not going away. And you're going to face 3 of their top pitchers in this series as well. So a nice way to get into the early part of this week before what would it be, a Thursday day off? Listen, we just rinse, wash, repeat here with the Royals.
Yeah, I mean, it was as good of a weekend as you could possibly have scripted up for the Royals. I mean, a home weekend series against the Athletics that they sweep. They welcome back in the 2014 Royals to town. Got to see guys like Eric Hosmer and Ned Yost and, Alex Gordon and Lorenzo Cain, the guys that came back that were part of that. It was good to see them back in Kansas City. And it was good to watch the way that this team played over the weekend with the top of their rotation. And really, it sort of seemed to me that it was maybe the most comfortable that we've seen, I think, the Royals in their own skin, like embracing who they are this year, embracing that they are a team to be reckoned with in the American League. Not that they haven't been throughout the course of the season, but really back at home against a really good crowd at the K, it seemed like games, and you mentioned it on Friday, it was a series that we expected them to win. They expected that they should win all three of those games, and they went about their business, and they looked really good while doing it.
Yeah, I'm trying to pull up. Do we have we seen attendance records this year or numbers? I'm trying to. I haven't looked at a game by game, but that is something to probably pay a little attention.
Yeah,
to.
it wasn't.
Right
it
now,
wasn't great early on in the season, but I mean, obviously, a whole lot better, over the last few weeks.
So it looks like their average right now is just under 17,000. That puts them at 26th in the league right now. That is for the season. So hopefully that ramps up. Remember, I'm going to go back just for a reference here. Let's go back to 2015. Kansas City was 10th in the league in attendance that year. So, they have shown, and if you go to 2014, kind of before everybody knew, they were all the way down at 25th, and then I'll bet you it was high in 2016. Again, just checking, it was 12th. Yeah, so if they're winning, typically people will show up. So I would assume as the summer gets along here, their attendance numbers are going to go way up. Austin asks on our YouTube stream, how great is it to play meaningful baseball in May? It's great. It's fantastic. If you can carry this now to the summer when kids aren't in school every weekday, I think, Tommy, we're going to see attendance balloon, and I hope we do, because you have to reward ownership as fans. When they go spend this kind of money, you got to reward them for it so that they'll keep spending money and investing it. Okay, you spend money, we come to games. Well, you spend money that wins baseball games, we'll come to games, I should say, because I've never been a proponent of telling people how to spend their money. But I do think it's important to get out there when ownership does something you've been begging them to do, and that's invest in the team. And I know, listen, I'm aware that that's been a challenge historically with the Royals. New ownership, you want a new stadium, spend some money. Okay, you do, we'll come to your games. And I hope that happens. And I think it will, because historically it has.
Yeah, I mean, I think that really going back to the way that they played this weekend, I mean, that's a great way to, I think, motivate the fans, to be able to come out and watch baseball, because it's not a fluke. And I think that we're in that same that mindset that it's not a fluke, that it's not a, one-off type thing. And are the Athletics the best team in baseball? I mean, no, not by a large margin, but still, I mean, it's a weekend series at the K. Beautiful weather for the most part. I mean, a little bit warm, feels like summertime, but a good opportunity to get out to the K and watch some really high quality baseball. And honestly, it was complete baseball, basically from start to finish in the entire series. You have to go all the way back almost 2 weeks, the opening game of the Angels series on the road in Los Angeles, for the last time that the Royals scored more than 4 runs in a game. And they did it in all 3 games against the Athletics over the weekend. They'd been somewhere between 2 and 4 runs basically for almost 2 weeks. And they put up 6, they put up 5, and they put up 8. And so that had been a question mark, I think, that we had been talking about for a while.
Question mark.
How is the offense able to respond, and can they reward good starting pitching? And they were able to do that all 3 games of this series.
And let's look, it's the A's. That's what you need to do against the A's. They got a bunch of pitchers that most people haven't heard of. That's what you need to do against that team. Now let's carry it through. In the series against Seattle, they scored 2, 4, and 2 runs against great pitching. So now can you get it done against good pitching? They're going to see 3 good pitchers here in this Detroit series. Skubal is perhaps if it's not Seth Lugo, I think the Cy Young guy right now would be Skubal. I think there are at least 2 guys in the mix, certainly. But the Tigers got some starting pitching too. And so can you score a bunch of runs against these good pitchers now like you did in Oakland? I hope so. You get to stay at home, right? You don't have to travel, all that stuff. You see if it, kind of as the weather heats up, if the offense can heat up a little bit too. They're in evaluation mode, Tom. And we talk about this all the time. The Royals are flat in evaluation mode right now. They should be, because they need to be out there on the line right now. Piccolo trying to figure out how to add at least an outfield bat, and how much more do you need? So, the challenge sort of went out from me for them to play Dairon Blanco more. And, what is he going to do? And I'm just going to pull up his game logs here. The challenge is being accepted in that he's getting more playing time. He played both Saturday and Sunday. And, well, he didn't really play. I shouldn't say that. He didn't play much Saturday. He didn't even get in a bat. So he played Sunday. And he goes 0 for 3. But I still want to see him play more. And he may not be it. I mean, probably isn't. But, evaluation mode means you got to find what you got to find. Last night in the game, of which Brady Singer was pretty good. We'll call it really good.
He was really good.
6 innings, 1 run. Yeah, we'll call it really good.
9 strikeouts. He was good.
7. The thing I've got to get used to with Brady Singer is there's always going to be a little traffic with Brady Singer. And that's okay. Guys do that. I don't think he's going to be one of these, nobody ever ggets on base guys, but he's navigated it well. You look around the outfield, they still don't have much coming from the outfield. No matter who it is out there, they can't figure that out. So what does that tell you? Go get a bat. The other thing about yesterday was, Tommy, it's an 8-run outing when Vinny Pasquantino it doesn't start the game, but gets his at bat, and he had a big one. But I want
to talk about that for a second, because I feel like one of the things that we haven't done, and I don't think a lot of people have done, as the Royals have shown that this is not a fluke, is give credit to Matt Quatrero. And Matt Quatrero is
not enough. Yeah.
He's pressing the right buttons, and Vinny Pasquantino coming up in the situation that he did, pinch hitting in that scenario, busted the game wide open with that 3-run triple. The first triple in his entire career. That was Matt Quatrero bringing Pasquantino to the plate to make that sort of thing happen, and so it hasn't been, I don't think we've given, or anybody's really given, Matt Quatrero enough credit for pushing the right buttons to make this happen.
I don't think we've given him enough either. I agree with that. I think he is getting credit. I've given him a ton. Listen, I've given him a lot of credit for figuring out the bullpen early, which he has. My next challenge to him is let's get Blanco in there for Melendez. That would be my next challenge on a consistent basis. But yeah, look, it's a day that Pasquantino is supposed to have off, but they need him in a big spot, and he comes in and he delivers. Great.
Yeah. And
right?
The other thing too, the other thing to keep in mind is that we've talked about the lineup. We've talked about, and I've been on record multiple times saying I'd love for Bobby Witt Jr. to lead off. Michael Garcia yesterday did what he needs to do if he wants to continue leading off in this lineup. And the thing that I like about him, and he's been, streaky up and down throughout the course of the season. I still think that he might be better served a little bit lower in the lineup, but he does bring a certain kind of swag to his game that I think is needed for the Royals. And, he's 2 for 4, 2 RBIs yesterday, did what he needed to do in that leadoff spot. So if he can consistently do that, then yeah, I'm going to back off of my claim that he shouldn't be leading off. I'm okay with that if he can go 2 for 4.
He's on fire. He's on fire right now.
Yeah.
Michael Garcia is. He's lighting it up at the moment, which is great. My point on Michael Garcia is not so much, and by the way, he has raised his OBP now up to getting close to 300. So he's getting there, which is about where it's hovered though, right? He doesn't ever walk, it doesn't seem like. He's had, in this time that he's on fire, which he has back-to-back multiple game hits, and he has a hit in, I'm going to give you these numbers because I don't know that people realize just how much he's heated up. So he has a hit in 7 straight, in 8 of 9, 9 of 10, 10 of 11, 11 of 12. 11 of 13. So then it's 12 of 14, 13 of 15, 13 of 16, 14 of 17, 15 of 18, 16. I mean, he has gone hitless, Tommy, in something like his last 20 games only 3 times, right? So he is heating up. He's on fire, however you want to describe it. I'm kicking myself because I moved him in fantasy baseball, not because I didn't believe in the player I do, but that's irrelevant. The point isn't that he's not playing well. I think he's doing good. I think he's one of their better offensive contributors. I just don't know if his best spot is the leadoff spot. So saying Bobby Witt Jr. should lead off, to me, it's not a knock on Maikel Garcia. It's that Maikel Garcia is looking more like a producer to me than a table setter. And so if you slide everybody up, it sort of also then could solve your problem of how you protect Salvador Perez in a lot of ways too. And so if you go Witt, Pascantino, Salvi, Maikel Garcia maybe can clean up then. Okay. I just think that rearrangement, I just want Witt and Salvi guaranteed to bat together at least one time a game, which is what this does. This idea does. So it's not a knock on Maikel Garcia. He has been really good, and a lot of credit to him. He is. Look, last year with him, it was like, who is this guy, and is he the real deal? This year, they bring him in. He's batting leadoff. He gets off to a good start. And you're like, boy, what a great development this would be to the season. Like, that was our big takeaway from like the first week of the season, right? It's like, Maikel Garcia, man, he looks really good. And he kind of slows a little bit, but he's back on fire. And even if he's a streaky hitter, put him in the middle, right? Protect Salvi with him. It's not a knock on him to say we'd like to see Bobby Witt Jr. lead off. That's a tip of the cap to Bobby Witt Jr. It has nothing to do with Maikel Garcia, except that I think he may be better served in the middle of the lineup than at the top of the lineup.
Hey, by the way, did you know that you can get Seth Lugo for the Cy Young Award winner at really, really juicy odds right now? I mean, he's nowhere near the favorite to win the Cy Young. He's 7-1. His ERA is under 2. His WHIP is under 1. You know, he's got a ton of strikeouts, and he is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. He's 11th when it comes to the favorites to win the American League Cy Young. I mean, I think that there's, this thought that eventually he's going to cool off, and he might very well cool off, down the stretch. But I've got him at plus 3,000 right now. You mentioned Tarek Skubal. He's the odds-on favorite at plus 200, 2-1 odds, right now for Skubal. Corbin Burns after that, Pablo Lopez after that. Even Cole Reagans is the 4th favorite right now to win the AL Cy Young. I kind of like those odds on a flyer.
They've got Reagans ahead of Lugo?
Yeah, Cole Reagans is 13-1 to win the American League Cy Young. Seth Lugo is all the way down at 30-1.
I'm going to get a piece of that. I don't know if it's sustainable. Right now, it would be a race between Lugo, Skubal, Burns, you mentioned. Logan Gilbert is probably in there right now.
Yeah, he's right behind Reagans and Luis Castillo.
So Luis Gil, we can keep an eye on, but I would say that's a longer shot. But he pitches for the Yankees, so you never know. Eric Fetty has been really good, but he plays for the White Sox. He'll never win it. Luis Castillo has been okay. Just guys to sort of pay attention to here. He's right there with it. In fact, he's ahead of all of them, quite honestly. He's ahead of all of these guys. He's had one more start than Skubal. But, and Skubal's 6-0, by the way, with numbers that are almost identical to Lugo otherwise. His WHIP is lower, but their ERA is about the same. Lugo has the one more start. So, right now it's those two probably. I guess Corbin Burns and Logan Gilbert are the next rung, but of course Burns has the staying power. So the thing about Lugo is Lugo, go look at Lugo's numbers. This is why I couldn't, it's such a great move by the front office. Go look at his numbers since he's been a starter. None of this should surprise anybody. Now, did we see it at this level? Maybe not. But he's been really good as a starter. So it's such a shrewd move by the Royals. And I can't believe he didn't get more money.
Yeah, he's striking out opponents at a wild clip. I mean, go back to his last 2 starts on the road against the Angels and then over the weekend against Oakland. 12 strikeouts against the Angels, 10 strikeouts against the Athletics. And, he did pitch 8 innings against the Angels, but his 10 strikeouts over the weekend, he only pitched 5 2/3 and he got 10 strikeouts, and so he's getting batters to swing and miss. The accuracy is there, and it's not just a low ERA. He's not allowing a bunch of runners on base either. The walks are not there. He's only got 8 walks in his last 7 starts. So there's something about the way that he's pitching right now that, clearly, obviously, totally valuable, extremely valuable. But if you're looking at the way that you rank the Royals starters based on what they're paying the starters or what they gave up to get the starters, I mean,
Right.
there's not a better value in the Royals rotation, clearly, than Seth Lugo.
I see him at 25-1 on one of the sites. Here's 20. I'm seeing him 25-1.
Like, I can get him 30-1 right now. That's on DraftKings. I'm looking at DraftKings.
Okay.
30-1. I would imagine, that's going to go down. That should go down fairly quickly. Throw $10 on that, you could win $300.
I know. Let's go. I'm in. Look, I've got 50-1 on Salvi. What did you get Salvi at? 60-1?
Taking him at,
I think is what you said.
Yeah, 60-1.
Which is, he's maintained that level, by the way. Bobby Witt Jr.'s are significantly higher. But yeah, Lugo for Cy Young. I always appreciate a good bet, a good value. I'm going to take that right now as we're speaking here. Seth Lugo. And we are booked for $10. Let's go. Let's go, Lugo. Get it done. It is, to Austin's point, so much fun on May 20th to be talking about a baseball team that you can follow every day. I have long contended the best fandom, the most rewarding fandom, and probably the NFL wins all of these kinds of conversations. But if it's not that, it's having a relevant baseball team, because you get it every day in the slowest sports time of the year. You get to follow it every single day. It's amazing. You know, baseball, like, Royals fans are going to lock into baseball more. They'll watch more baseball than they've watched in almost a decade this summer. If the Chiefs weren't any good, we'd all be watching just as much NFL, right? We'd watch it all anyway. It's not that way in baseball anymore. You need your team to be good. And I say this all the time, and I mean it. I'm so happy for Royals fans to have relevant baseball on May 20th. I hope that the buzz catches like it did way back when. It'll take a little time. It's going to take later into the summer for people to catch on and jump all in on this. Remember, 2014 went through those attendance numbers. It wasn't 2014 when that blew through the roof. It was the next year, right after the expectation had set in, and that run they had through the postseason. I think it will happen a little sooner than it did that year, because this team appears to be really good. I just wonder, as they stay in this, Tommy, we keep saying they don't have or I do anyway, they don't have the ammo to go make a splash move. But I wonder how much that intensifies. You can always make a trade, right? You can always trade, go get somebody, even if you have a bad system like they have right now. I wonder how much pressure intensifies. I don't think they should do this, by the way. I think they should make a series of small moves. I don't think they should make a splash move. But I do wonder. It would help attendance, right? Like, if you're talking about that kind of thing, a splash move is going to help generate that buzz. You know, maybe if winning singularly can't do it, maybe they would. I don't know. I don't think they would, but maybe they would, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I think it comes down to who's available and, what is going to be required to go get somebody like that. I mean, if we've identified, and I think everybody can identify, that the major key would be an outfield bat. That's really where it comes down to. I mean, you look at, by the way, for all of the criticism that's been thrown at the outfield, the Royals might have one of the best infields in baseball from an offensive standpoint.
Yep.
Like they might be there for them. Now, of course, they're lacking when it comes to an outfield bat. So I'm not opposed to them going out and trying to make that happen. But I also don't want to give up everything for, to take a big wild swing at somebody that may or may not hit. So again, it's going to come down to what's available, what's out there, and what's it going to take. But if the expectation now, they're 10 games over 500 as of right now. That hasn't happened since they won the World Series last. If the expectation is we feel like
Really?
this team, they've not been 10 games
They
over
never
500.
got to 10 games in 2016.
They did not. They won the World Series the last time they were 10 games over 500. So if they feel like, okay, this is our chance, we've got to do this now, then you can go and make that move.
It is their chance. There's nothing we look at on this team that does not seem A, sustainable, and B, set you up for postseason success, right? They can run. They can starting pitch. They've got enough bullpen, I think. You can always add more. I'd like to see them add more. And we're close offensively to having a good enough offense, I think. You've got 2 MVP candidates in there. Could it use a little more depth? Could it use one more bat? Of course it could. There's nothing that we're seeing that tells us, this is going to fade. I don't think that's going to, obviously the unforeseeable things can always happen. Love it for you, Royals fans. You can catch the Royals tonight at 6:30, by the way, right here on KFH, beginning that Detroit series. More on that a little bit later. When we come back, Chiefs are back in the news. And it's again for problems in the offseason. What's happening here? Could somebody get the roster together and be like, listen, guys, we're trying to three-peat. Could you keep your wild religious beliefs and, things that are going to make people mad and stay out of jail and all these things? Could we remember that we're trying to three-peat here? What an offseason it's been for the Chiefs. We'll talk about the latest when we return.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea. With more than 25 flavors, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day for half-price cups of tea. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say drink tea, be happy. We have more than 25 flavors. Come try them all for free.
All right, welcome back in, everybody. Sports Daily here on KFH. Jacob Albracht, Tommy Castor. The Chiefs are back in the news. Welcome back in, everybody. Thanks for joining us on KFH over the air, streaming online, video streaming online. The IHOP hotline's open for you, 869-1240. Always appreciate, by the way, Prairie Fire Coffee for fueling us up here at KFH and all over our Odyssey family of networks. Tommy, Wanya Morris and Chukwuebuka Godric, who I am not aware of, but Wanya Morris we certainly are because he's going to be in the mix to be the starting left tackle on this team. He is arrested on misdemeanor possession of marijuana. Both of them were booked into jail and released. Chiefs are aware of it, not giving any comment. Look, does anybody care that Wanya Morris is smoking pot? Anybody?
I don't care.
Crickets. Nobody cares, right? This is not that big a deal. It's only in totality, though. Like, Rashee Rice is far more concerning than this. This is not a big deal. Pot, people smoke pot. Okay, I don't think anybody's like the stigma of that. I just don't think it resonates really with people. But it's another thing, man. It's another distraction this offseason. You've got Rashee Rice happen, and then for completely different reasons. And I have no issue with Harrison Butker wearing his heart on his sleeve for whatever. I don't know that it's necessary, but he can do whatever he wants. He's not endangering people. Wanya Morris smoking pot also doesn't bother me at all. Rashee Rice is the only one that bothers me. He really endangered people's lives here, but it's just another thing, right? It's another thing in this offseason. And I don't think any of these you could just say, oh, it's just because the spotlight's bigger on the Chiefs and they're the three. I don't think that's what it is. I think they're just like these things continue to happen. And you wonder at some point, a distraction's a distraction, no matter what. Do these distractions add up? Are these signs of things to come? Like, should we be concerned, I think, as we're observing the Chiefs? Like, come on. Like, what are we doing here? We got to win a third Super Bowl.
Yeah, I don't care what they were doing. I don't care, how Wanya Morris and the other guy, who I'm not even going to try to say his name.
Right.
I don't care what he's doing because that's his private business. Like, doesn't really impact me one way or another. It's just a matter that he got caught doing it and it's against the law. Like, that's the problem. Whether or not the law should be changed or it is what it is, like, that's not really up for debate. I just am concerned about the fact that you've got situation after situation after situation that kind of piles on, and it adds to what has been an incredibly dramatic offseason for all the wrong reasons for the Kansas City Chiefs. That's the only concern for me. I don't care how he spends his personal time, but it was a situation where clearly they broke the law the way that the
Yeah, he
law,
broke the law.
is
Yeah, it's
is
the law. Whether
written,
you like the
and
law or not, it's a
they're
law.
they're in trouble for it, and it's just another situation that the Chiefs have to deal with.
I think the concern becomes if this leads to any sort of suspension from the NFL, right? Like, I don't think any fans care. I don't think the coaches probably in their heart of hearts care at all. I think probably there's a lot of guys on that roster and in every walk of life that smoke pot, right? Is what it is. I think the concern becomes, is Wanya Morris going to have to face a suspension for this? Like, is he going to have to miss 4 games for this? 1 game, 2 game, 3 games? We know Rashee Rice is going to get suspended for a while. Like, that's the part I think where you come into, like, Harrison Butker's not facing a suspension or anything like that. He didn't do anything wrong. Eye of the beholder. But as far as the letter of the law, right, or league policy or anything like that. But Rashee Rice did, and he's going to catch a suspension. Wanya Morris was arrested. Is he going to get a suspension? And look, they drafted a tackle in the second round who you could project as the starter by the end of the season. That's by the end of the season. What happens at the beginning of the season? Is there something that could happen? How much does that shake up your plan? Like, it's just these little things for the Chiefs that could add up. Are we going to have Rashee Rice to start the year? Like, if you're sitting in Brett Veach's office, we're going to have Rashee Rice to start the year? Are we going to have Wanya Morris to start the year? Do we need to go find another left tackle? You know what I mean? It's just like, it are things that could derail what you're trying to do, which is win a 3rd straight Super Bowl.
Yeah, and I don't necessarily, doesn't matter to me what he did. The factor is that he did something that was against the law. And so now you've got, potential disciplinary action. Will there be disciplinary action? I don't know. I don't know if that's something that the league gets involved in or if they care about. I don't know if it's something that the Chiefs get involved in or they care about, or if they just let the legal process. I don't know. I'm sure that this thing happens periodically. My point is that it's just, again, something else that you have to deal with. And I know it happens on every team. I know that you've got times where players are getting in trouble, and that's part of it. And I know that there's probably an entire department that the Chiefs have to deal with these sort of things. If I'm Andy Reid, if I'm Brett Veach, I'm going to try to get as many guys together and say, guys, can we just calm things down for a while until we get into the season?
How much? I know, because you know that he's annoyed by, the beer chugging antics of Kelsey all over everything. And like, not annoyed, but just like, I'm sure he would prefer that his team is never in the news. And so you've got the 2 now probably most popular players on the planet, Mahomes and Kelsey, and you've got the Swift thing that you're trying to navigate, and you've got Rashee Rice, which is by far the most troubling. Then Harrison Butker makes headlines for 3 weeks and has become this lightning rod that's going. What's what? So I'm sure people have seen Harrison Butker's jersey now is the most high selling jersey, and that shouldn't surprise anybody because his intended goal was achieved. His intended goal. He's had blowback from the church. He's had blowback from the college. He's had blowback from the league. But his intended goal was received by who he intended it to be received by. And all of a sudden now he's got the number 1 selling jersey. That's all fine and dandy, except when you're talking about the Chiefs on the field, it's just one more thing now that's going to follow them. I'm sure that at the beginning of the year, every player and Andy Reid, the next time they get a chance, hey, did you have a chance to catch Harrison Butker's comments? Do you agree with him? What do you think about those comments? Which is stupid. It's unfair. Like, what does it matter? Like that those are his comments to make. What does that have to do with anybody else? But it's coming, right? So there's a distraction. Taylor Swift's a distraction. Like, all of these little things are piling up on them. And I'm not talking about these things being right, wrong, or indifferent. I'm just observing that they're happening. And Patrick Mahomes' wife is in Sports Illustrated swimsuit. Like, there has been a whole lot of not football talk about the Chiefs this offseason, Tommy.
Oh,
I
and
would
by the way-
imagine the Chiefs brass would love if they would just be able to talk football.
By the way, you've got, by all accounts, your potential wide receiver 1 going into the season, potentially facing like legitimate, like crazy legal ramifications in his situations.
His thing is different. His thing is like concerning, troubling. The things that you're seeing are bad, and like there's no good. Like there's not a one side or the other. Like Rashee Rice is facing serious trouble here, and that is different, I think, than these other things we're talking about. I suppose Wanya Morris's arrest falls somewhere in between, in the sense that nobody really cares that he's smoking pot, but it is a distraction. But it isn't like the other kind of distraction that's happening in that. And I say distraction, not, and again, I just want to clarify for everybody. I'm not saying these distractions are bad. I'm just saying when you're talking about only focusing about one singular goal of winning a Super Bowl, they're all things that can pull attention away from that. There are tons of them with the Chiefs. And this happens to every great team, right? It doesn't surprise me. It's just one after another, after another, after another. The Chiefs have become this lightning rod. They're becoming more of a lightning rod. They're getting lightning rod events even when they're not trying to get lightning rod events. And they're distractions. I mean, that's the old cliche in sports. Minimize the distractions. All coaches want that. All executives want that. You don't want distractions from the intended goal. That's not just sports either. That's any business, right? You don't want distractions from the intended goal. You wish that everyone would just solely be focused on that intended goal. This is not going to happen. And, now a Chiefs press conference, they're going to have a lot to navigate in a Chiefs news conference, right?
Yeah.
You got to ask about Butker. You got to ask about Taylor Swift. You got to ask about Travis Kelce hosting a game show. You got to like all of this stuff.
And you know what would make me really mad if I was Brett Veach or if I was Andy Reid is the fact that the Rashee Rice incident happened, several weeks ago, the main one that everybody has, really been focused on. There have been other smaller things since then, but that's been the number one issue that's in my mind. If I was running the team, that would have to be like an all hands on deck. We have to figure this out and get this taken care of. So in that moment, it would make me mad if I've got other players on the team that are getting themselves into issues in hot water, legal or otherwise, where it's like, guys, look at what's happening with Rashee Rice right now. We have to dedicate all of our energy and all of our resources into getting this taken care of. We can't have you guys being stupid also, because now we're deflecting attention away from the major thing that we've got to try to get fixed.
But that comes with the territory. That's the problem of that job. That's not, I don't know the arresting circumstances yet of Wanya Morris. I don't think we have those yet. I'm sure we will at some point early this week. Don't know what the circumstances of his arrest are. Like, was he really like going out of his way to catch some, to catch the attention? I don't know that yet. We'll find out. Harrison Butker wanted the attention. He got the attention, but again, that's Brett Veach's burden to bear as being an executive. Like, sorry, dude, you got to deal with it. That's not my problem. And it's not the other Chiefs' problem. It's Rashee Rice's problem. But yeah, that's the point of this exercise, is to say there's a lot of things for a lot of different reasons distracting the Chiefs from making history this year. And you just wonder at what point is it like this is getting to be too much. I will say they have the most equipped leaders for this of any team currently by far, maybe in the all-time conversation, because Mahomes, Kelce, and Andy Reid, and to some degree, Steve Spagnuolo, maybe. Those guys are laser focused when it matters, and maybe that's all that matters for the Chiefs. It certainly was last year. Time will tell. The offseason continues. I think the Chiefs would rather it just be done at this point. 869-1240 is the number to call. You can give us your comments there. We'll continue to bounce around a little bit as we make our way through this Monday edition of Sports Daily. Don't go away.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea. With more than 25 flavors, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day for half-price cups of tea. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say drink tea, be happy. We have more than 25 flavors. Come try them all for free.
Sports Daily is on KFH.
Welcome back in, everybody. Sports Daily. Boy, I haven't watched an ounce of NASCAR since we used to try to pick NASCAR races on this show. And even then, I didn't watch any NASCAR. I just picked anyway. We had a good little NASCAR fight yesterday, Tom. Did you catch that?
I saw that. I mean, I have no idea why they were mad at each other, but I saw that there were some punches thrown.
So Ricky Stenhouse and it was Kyle Busch, I believe. Got into a little scuffle. Which is not unusual for NASCAR to get down back in the, in the back area and get after it when somebody, wrecks your car and sends you flying through the air at 1 billion miles per hour. I get it. You want to talk about road rage? Where do NASCAR fights rank in fights? Like if we've got, hockey fights, if we've got benches clearing brawls for baseball, you've got NASCAR fights. I don't think anybody likes football fights. I certainly don't because, helmets. I don't like football fights. I could do without. I don't really like basketball fights because of what, the malice in the palace. I don't like that either. But I think generally, if we're all being honest with ourselves, benches clearing brawls don't bother us, right? Hockey fights don't bother us, even though they can get very dangerous. They're sort of a part of the game. And then you have NASCAR fights. Where do NASCAR fights rank in there? I think baseball fights we like, but are usually the least the least actually something happens. I appreciate hockey fights, like when the puck drops and like the whole team just fights each other. Like I can enjoy that. I do always have that thing in the back of my head where they're wearing razor sharp ice skates and makes me just a little bit uneasy. Generally speaking, with NASCAR fights, I'm pretty good with it. Like, let's go.
You know
like,
what cracks me up about NASCAR fights is that the fights always happen, of course, after the action is done. So the race is done. They have to because you're in cars and you're driving. So it always happens after the fact. It's always like people kind of standing around. You got the pit crew kind of hanging out. And then all of a sudden there's like a fight right in front of you where like hockey fights happen in the moment. Baseball fights usually happen in the moment, like during the game. NASCAR fights, it's always
got a stew on it.
It kind of reminds me of like a bar fight. People are just kind of hanging out, hanging around.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden punches are thrown.
It's the road rage element of it that makes it so relatable, I think, for all of us. Nobody likes road rage. It's one of those phenomenons we can't really explain. We all get it. We all get the most unreasonably angry, probably, while driving a vehicle. It's a real thing. It's a real problem, in fact. And I'm not trying to downplay it because it is. So I kind of get why NASCAR fights happen. Like you're stewing, you're mad, you're going to go find them, and you've got like this road rage moment on steroids. And when done properly, I think that they generally can get things solved and be fine. Like you get it off your chest. Like you get out there and you got a problem. We're going to solve this problem. There is a simplicity to solving problems that way that obviously we can't have and you got to be careful with and everything else. But two people getting in a fight on the street like that, Tommy, you know what would happen? They go to jail.
Yeah.
Like you can't do that. How do we do this in sports where we allow it? Like we can visibly see it. Most of us go to jail if we get in a fight. Like you're not allowed to do that. You're not allowed to just fight whenever you want to. But in sports, I guess in the field, we just are okay with it. I'm not okay with it. I'm fine with it. But it is kind of interesting, right? Like they get to just go back there on camera and assault one another, and they're not gonna be arrested for that.
I mean, how many times have you wished that you could be an athlete just so you could have an excuse to get some rage out? Like I've been there before. Like
me personally?
Yeah, like that's, like for me, there are times where I remember playing like rec league softball, maybe, 10 years ago. And I just wanted to get in every single fight. And I'm a fairly mild-mannered guy.
Me too.
It takes a lot to get me mad, but you put me out on the slow pitch rec league softball field, I'm going to trash talk. I'm going to
Oh, yeah.
complain. I'm going to talk. I'm going to do all the different things. And like, there were a couple times where it was like, okay, I got to calm it down because we're going to come to blows and I probably will go to jail. But it's something about being in that athletic
It is.
mindset
It
that
is.
like a switch gets flipped.
It's not even it's competitive. How many fights, if you have siblings and you've played video games growing up, I'm not sure that there's anything that has started more fights than video games with a sibling. I think in the history of all things in the world that have started fights, sibling video game matches would be number one. I'm pretty sure. It's a lot. David chimes in on our YouTube stream and said, speaking of NASCAR, look at what Kyle Larson is doing. Amazing. I'll take your word for it, David. I have no idea what Kyle Larson is doing. I assume winning lots of races. That's, again, no offense to anything. I hope that it's amazing and historic and all of the things, but I'm never going to lie to people. I'm not watching NASCAR right now. So, David, what is Kyle Larson doing? I'll look it up. I assume he's winning lots of races, which is really cool. I love it. I don't have any problem with NASCAR. I'm just not watching it. I'm not going to pretend like I am. But good for him. I did see the clip of the fight, though. That caught my attention. I have no idea who won the race, but I know that those two got in a fight back behind the track. I don't know. Why do we get away? Why don't athletes get in trouble for fighting on the field? No, none of the rest of us get to just fight out our problems. We get in trouble for that.
That's life.
I guess so. And just another perk for the athletes. 869-1240. We'll come back. We'll tell you what's on the network today when we return.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea. With more than 25 flavors, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day for half-price cups of tea. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say, drink tea, be happy. We have more than 25 flavors. Come try them all for free.
right, that's it for us, everybody. Thanks for being here with us. Regular Infinity Sports Network programming up until 6:30. Royals, Tigers on KFH. Bob and Jeff locally from 2 to 4. Stay tuned for it all. Thanks for joining us. By the way, Royals baseball on KFH and available for free on the Odyssey app. You can simply download the Odyssey app and search for KFH. Fun show today. We'll be back tomorrow to see if the Royals can stay streaking and more. For Chad Chambers. Oh, no, we will not be. You're right, Tommy. We're off tomorrow, back Wednesday. Shocker baseball tomorrow. Shocker baseball, everybody. Postseason begins tomorrow. We'll be back Wednesday. See you then.